What's good, y'all? It's your boy Matrix CEO Treytastic just slid in the building unaccounted for. And I'm in the back rooms working. I gotta finish these series. Don't worry, next episode It's Not That Deep is coming. The Collabia video where I made where I'm in like the little white blazer. I already have all the clips for the first part of that. And I need to make the second part about the program that I actually made and what I actually want to talk about, the Collabia. But I don't like spitting a bunch of quantum nonsense, even though it's really, really fragile and can't be quantified in a lot of ways that are as rigorous to laws, theories, phenomenon that we have laws, have rules for amongst each other as biological creatures, because the influence that we're experiencing is just generally too much. So things that are like quantum, like mechanics, somebody like might never even, it might be like a joke, and then like the singularity comes like 500 years from now, and then we just watch a bunch of people just bomb each other for like the next like 50 years. You know how humans are. So I came up with oh wait, no, that's not to say that I'm not done the episode. I need to film the episode, you know, putting work in the back rooms, and they're making a movie about that too, of course. But what's it called? I've conceptualized this new like idea for a series of reading excerpts from books that I really love. Um, this is code. I'm hesitating. I'm hesitating to read this book. This is the most controversial book in human history. But today, and I've read 231 pages. I've read like 136, 140. I was reading it in Africa. I never finished it because it's just so powerful, and I need to really just be grounded in a sense to actually try and find something that I can what's it called? Something that I could use in a way that's respectable from other people, because that's the thing about like wacky metaphysics, and not wacky meta, but the thing about metaphysics in general, and metaphysics does get pretty wacky, is that like the most beautiful philosophical concepts that you can literally see make changes in the biofield around you are scrutinized so heavily just because it forces people to accept that objective reality can be controlling them in the moment. So even like a really big fallacy is talking about objective things and then acting like you're a remote viewer when everybody can remote view. It's called solipsism, being solipsistic. It's like how in Schrodinger's cat, there always needs to be an observer observing the scientist observing the cat, and then it just keeps going higher and higher and higher. So then if you make ideas and can't incorporate how you're changing the system as you analyze it while observing it, you basically just make a bunch of like word salad that doesn't really contribute to one sort of direction. I like it when we're forced to just build together and have conversation, and keeps that's what that's the main fight against accelerationism. And accelerationist transhumanists, they really hate that. So we really got to start diving into the deepest things that we know and force people to walk in white robes, homie. Come on now. So this is the code to the Matrix, the first edition, the golden rule, 100, 010, 001, James Evan Bomar the third, JEB, to the power of three. Shout out Petro Boomin for putting me on this. You already know your top demon. 1080 degrees arch chariot, observer of the spheres, prime mobile. To all the youth of the world, so you may see the path to ascension. This is really deep into grimoire, if you know what that is, and how languages is spells, and what's the specific term? Uh, not I was about to say aneurysm. Not an it's what is oh my god, it's what's the word, bro? Like how Neo is analysis something, and the word is in the book. Anagram. Anagrams. So like Neo is an anagram. Neo in the Matrix, the main character, is an anagram for the one, to make you think that there's one person that we must all follow to escape the Matrix, when that isn't true. So you got to watch out for anagrams. That's a literal spell type shit, and he goes deep into it in this book. But always take everything with a grain of salt, not just certain things. So forward, 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 four words. The race was not given to the quick. This is the first page. Taking how deep this is. It's just so beautiful. I had to make a video about it and preach it. take what you want with it, but use it to benefit everybody's reality around you, not degrade it. The race, and my homie put me on that too. You already know who you are. The race was not given. We still in the mission, homie, type shit. The race was not given to the quick or the swift, but to the one who could endure all the way to the end. Till the end, sorry. Then we found out there was no end. The unwary soul who fails to grapple with the mocking demon of illusion will return to the earth as the slave of illusion. To become a true master of the fate, you must become a knower of self. In a time much too distant to consider, we as humans splitting from the single source enter duality. The man who wrote this meditated to the point where every single metal object around him floated into this. We just believe the story. I love Seven Bomar so much. All the like his PS3 was floating like right beside him, and all the metal and shit in his room was floating. And then his homie walked in the room, was like, "Bro, what are you doing?" And then like a giant portal opened, and he got like sucked into the portal, and then fell into hell. And then he was meditating so hard he had to pull his homie out of hell. Come on now. In a time much too distant to consider, we as humans splitting from the single source enter duality, spiraling away. This is one of the most beautiful things ever written. And that's the main thing, is that like metaphysics just brings beauty to earth, and people hate it because they're so trapped in materials. And the metaphysics brings a new viewpoint to make the thing that's trapping this guy in the third dimension turns into a flower of life that makes him see higher dimensions through the same thing that he was trapped by. It's deep shit, man. Spiraling away from the creator, some spun in the direction of 6, while others spun in the opposite direction of 9. This is the spiral force. I was actually just looking into it. It's a high level of physics about how everything in the universe naturally spirals. Let me not butcher this. Let me just go to the link real quick. It is kind of fan lore. It is quite fan lore, but it's the idea of an ability that inspired the electron orbiting the proton and the Earth orbiting the sun. So that being fundamental of our existence, which is pretty scary. And he went to that world and saw a bunch of shit. And people die too, and literally go to the metaphysical world, but they're just not allowed to tell us what they find. These two forms contain complete opposites. This isn't the spiral force. This is me continuing the book. These two forms contain complete opposites. However, it is with their unison something new can be born. This is the sequence of life. Our solar system houses various binary or dual worlds, and Earth, called first Tiamat, is one of them. Once entering this realm, the spirit began to develop its narrow definition of things, as in most cases, besides twins, they are lacking their other side. In extinct, we create a stand-in, which we call the ego. This is for all the mans in my comments who are telling me I'm not Matrix CEO. I have to dive deep in that I'm a scientist on Monday. Come on now. Scientific method on Monday, and then we get metaphysics Freaky Friday. Come on now. The ego is wholly constructed, but magicka and science are fusing, so we're all going to be subject to whoever controls the saber or whatever, or the staff. In extinct, what's it called? In extinct, we create a stand-in, this is beautiful. In extinct, we create a stand-in, which we call the ego. The ego is wholly constructed of astral energy, in which we create and breathe life into every day. At times, not knowing power, we birth a monster which we love and care for, since after all, it is a part of us, our baby. At some point in incarnations or loops, one realizes they must begin the quest of taming the monster. They realize they must flip it over and ride it. Only very few scientists can actually get to this level of trying to save people through philosophy and communicating them through the metaphysical sea that they're already living in. It's really sad how people look down on speaking like this and really elevating people. They realize they must flip it over and ride it. At that moment, they also see how strong it has become, as it is stuck in its ways, rigid in form, brutish and ineloquent. In that condition, we can take it nowhere, just as you never take a street dog into a royal party. The work before us, that's actually debatable because people do their grievances. The work before us then was to take this rough cut stone and form it into a chariot of fire that could propel us through the center of the universe. It is there we will meet our other half, in the realm that is the meaning to life. saying I'm gonna find my Boltzmann brain after afterlife. That's terrifying. What if God lets him in instead of me? That's cooked. To help us through this whole process and all of its components, the Most High developed a system based upon the energies of the entire universe. Seeing that humans are smaller composites of the celestial spheres, it became possible for one to know how to guide their particular life in the direction that would equal the greatest amount of potential for their unique design. This is what motivates me to make all my science videos, by the way. In each person lies the pearl of the highest potential. If developed, it is a treasure to all existence, visible and invisible. The wondrous metamorphosis was possible of human creation. However, as you see in some parts of nature, not every creation has been given this ability. Thus, there arose a challenge from lower forms of consciousness that manifested as jealousy, and thus spirituality and religion were created. These are the limits. Once again, as the close of this time segment, the masses will have an opportunity to discover their true form, which is not a word and comes before even thought. It is the highest if you but knew. Damn. Consider hot, cold, light, and dark. If there is not one, this is the first 2 pages, bro. That's why I love this book. I read so deep, but then I'm just like fried like an omelet that I have to come back to the first page. I've been reading this book for like 6 years. Consider hot, cold, light, and dark. It is there not warm and gray, which can easily fit between the two. Not to mention in temperature, there is hot, cold, warm, vapor, freezing, and many more stages, each having a particular use, some being very beneficial for a certain moment and useless for others. If someone came to your door looking for a person that you love to do them harm, would you tell them that they were inside, or would you lie and say that they were not around? If you lied to protect that person, is that good or bad? If you ask a pastor of a church, they will say it is evil to tell lies, period, but it is better to allow the loved one to be hurt. As you see, everything is a matter of perspective, so there can be no good and bad, only, I'm not punctuating, only there can be no good and bad, only reason, and reason has so many parameters. If all the things not considered, a person could be left confused, not knowing what decision to make from time to time. Thus they are left and lost in time. Whatever you do in life, let it be endowed with meaning and purpose. I understood these things as a toddler. That's the craziest thing. You really understand these things as a toddler, and then your mind is molded.